Hi, I'm Phil Rude, and this is my 100 Days of Making Comics, days 13 through 17. I was on the road. I went from rainy South Florida to snowy Northern Illinois this past few days. And in the last video, I talked about how I was unable to take pages with me to work on for my current story. So what you're seeing right now is my sketchbook. This is my daily carry kind of sketchbook. Ideas, notes, whatever gets jotted down in here. It's pocket sized. It's easy to take with me. So that became a really easy way to take my work on the road. I did a lot of thumbnailing. As you can see, a lot of my thumbnails are not really refined. I've seen artists whose thumbnails have an incredible amount of detail and are really clean, and I'm always a little bit envious of them, but mine are more scratchboard, kind of scribbly, kind of just notes, just sort of brainstorming notes. And I don't normally use necessarily a sketchbook to catch all these in because they're really disposable, and it seems like kind of a waste to fill a book with them. But when you're traveling, it's a really easy way to keep everything kind of contained. I want to talk a little bit about how I thumbnail, as sort of, this is kind of how I write. It's part of my writing process. The thumbnails I worked on here are really just a very early draft of the story. I've already seeing where things are going to change pretty dramatically by the time I sit down to actually do this story. It's kind of just a way of, here's an idea of a general direction this story can go. And from sketching it out, I get more ideas and I find more of a solid direction to go in. That's just me. I'm not the strongest writer. So, your results may vary with that. For me, that just seems to be a way that kind of works right now. I've tried full script. I change a lot as I go. I'm always revising, always sort of figuring it out. So generally the thumbnails I come up with first, the initial thumbnailing is kind of, it can end up being a long way off of where I end up. So in that way, it's kind of interesting to see. And since these are in a book, they'll be easy to reference later. And when I'm done with this story, I may do some sort of comparison of, here's where I started, here's where I ended up with this story. And you can see a wide gap between them, because I'm pretty sure you will be able to. I got back into town last night, back to my humble abode in South Florida. And it's good to be back. Like I said, it was kind of an impromptu trip up north, a bit of a family emergency, kind of a emotional up and down kind of roller coaster, but ultimately I'm glad I was there. So in the midst of all of that, the work was a little bit therapeutic. On the screen right now, you can see this is work that I did this morning. I got up and tried to find my regular routine again, and did a half hour of inking on an actual page right off the bat, which was good. It was good to pick up a pen again after thumbnailing for a few days and not really working on a page. It was good to find that groove again. But I want to talk, as I keep interrupting myself, about art as sort of a distraction. Maybe that's not the right word. I'm not sure therapeutic is the right word either. Meditation, maybe a little bit closer. When you have a lot going on, emotionally, or a lot just weighing on your mind, as happens with a lot of us from time to time. I'm not trying to be overly dramatic. It just sort of, it can kind of happens. We all have lives. It's good to have a constant. And for a lot of us, art, drawing, creating, maybe you're a music person, maybe you're a videographer, much more than I am, as evidenced by the quality of my videos, as I've complained about before. It's good to have that constant and that ability to sort of not check out of life, but just give yourself a mental break from it. Sometimes I will turn on some background music and draw, or just have some YouTube videos playing in the background and draw. Sometimes I have absolute silence and I draw, and that can really just allow you to focus on what you're doing, to kind of be in the moment a lot easier than when you're walking through your life and you have distractions coming at you here, there, and everywhere. I am not going to get on a high horse about the importance of shutting your phone off from time to time, but I am going to tell you to shut your phone off from time to time. I've taken some apps that I have noticed to be very big distractions to me and deleted them from my phone. And sometimes I'll leave my phone in the other room. Sometimes I'll shut it off altogether. It's constant stimulation coming from our phones. I said I'm not going to get on a high horse. Here I am climbing up in the saddle. It's constant distractions and sensory overload. And we can let it get really out of hand without really noticing that we're doing it. It is just a piece of advice, especially maybe when you're drawing, to shut your notifications off for a little while. Give yourself a minute. Give yourself that half hour while you're doing 100 days of making comics to just be there with your comic. Maybe a little bit of music, but not the dings and buzzes and hey, so-and-so liked a photo. It's easy to get lost in all of that, and it's easy to be distracted, and it's easy to get off task. So when you have a lot going on, I just found it really nice to be up north with a lot going on and be able to find a quiet corner. It also helps. The cell phone thing really became evident to me these past few days. I was staying at my parents' house. I have an AT&T plan. AT&T has garbage coverage where my parents live. So, and I would unhook from their Wi-Fi network. It was pretty easy to have my phone silenced. And that was kind of nice. I took a lot of comfort in just sitting in the corner and thumbnailing and fleshing out story ideas. And I really advise you to do that too. Use art as a meditation. You can buy into meditation as much as you want to. You can be a Buddhist yogi, or you can say that's all new age crap, but you're going to get the same benefit from it if you just allow yourself to be in the moment of putting ink on the paper and appreciating that for what it is. I'm going to get off my my meditation and silence is golden high horse right now, and just say that's my rambling summary of my few days on the road and my thumbnail process and my old man, get off my lawn, shut off your phones lecture. This has been 13 through 17, days 13 through 17, and I am feeling pretty good about the groove I've carved out for myself and being able to keep this flow going. Are you doing the 100 days of making comics challenge? And if so, how is it going? Leave a comment in my comment section. Once again, I'm being very redundant about that. Let me know how it's going. You have any questions about anything I've talked about, any comments, any arguments against it, please. I'm by no means an authority. I am really open to hearing other artists' point of view. I love process and I love hearing how other people work. So please drop it in the comments. If you're doing 100 days, drop your video links in there. I'll check them out. A few people have done that. I don't have names handy because I do this so off the cuff. It's not even funny. But anyway, I will give some acknowledgement next time. Maybe I'll answer some comments if they start rolling in. And I will talk to you next time.